Philadelphia assemblies. Shabbatah, Shalom on the Sabbath day. Welcome to the Philadelphia assemblies. Today, according to the sacred calendar, as we perceive it, again, we keep the full moon as the new moon, per Psalms 81, verse 3. Okay, but today is the 15th day of the third month of the year 5780. We're going to be doing another expository teaching. This will be part 4 of 1 Chronicles. We're going to be starting in chapter 17. Chapter 17 of 1 Chronicles. But before we get started, we're going to turn towards the east, where the temple was, and before the 70 AD, before the destruction of Solomon's temple. That temple was always in Jerusalem, towards the east, and it's prophesied to be there again before the return of our Mashiach, or Messiah. So we'll turn to the east. Heavenly Father, Yahushua, we praise you, Yahushua. Heavenly Father, Yahuwah, please forgive me for that, Father, slip of the tongue. We know that you are the only true, 100% most high Eloah of everything. Without you, everything was created by you and for you. And we know that you sent your son, Yahushua, through Mary, that Gabriel, came down and told her that Ruach HaKodesh would overshadow her and cause the Messiah to be, that he would become the Lamb of Elohim, and that he would be sacrificed for the sins of the world. We also know that the Ruach HaKodesh, or the Holy Spirit, was the one that was with you from the beginning. Father, we praise you in that understanding. We know that he was your Malach of Yahuwah. He was the Spirit of Elohim, the Ruach HaKodesh. That was the word that was in the beginning with the Father. Father, we thank you for that understanding. We thank you for your scriptures that were written by your set-apart prophets. Father, that was sent here to tell us of you. And that your Messiah, your Mashiach, came in your name to be offered for the sins of the world. Father, we ask as we go to this expository teaching that you open our eyes and give us an extra unction of that Ruach of Elohim that would teach us all things whatsoever you've commanded us, Father. Help us to have good understanding. Help us to be led by you, and help those spirits, those fruits of the Spirit show up in our lives, Father, so that we could be a light to the world. Father, we ask again that you would be with all those that are sick now, whether it be from COVID-19 or whatever it is, but we ask for their healing, Father. And for those that have passed away, we ask that those families have that peace that passes understanding. Father, again, we ask that you would heal those that need healing, bless those that are downtrodden, and we ask it all in your precious Son, Yahushua's name. Amen. Okay. We went to Yahuwah in prayer in Yahushua's name. I misspoke there at the beginning, but I'm sure Yahuwah understands that that's what I did, was misspoke. Okay, so we're going to go ahead and get started in part 4, chapter 17, verse 1. Now it came to pass as David, or David, in English, David, King David, sat in his house, that David said to Nathan the prophet, Lo, I dwell in a house of cedars, but the ark of the covenant of Yahuwah remains under curtains, or under a tent. It had no place of its own, Then Nathan said unto David, Do all that is in your heart, for Elohim is with you. And it came to pass the same night that the word of Elohim came to Nathan, saying, now the word of Elohim, I'm going to stick it out here, it was not the Messiah. He wasn't born till much later in Bethlehem. The word of Yahuwah is the spirit of Yahuwah. Okay? And that's who came to Nathan, the Ruach HaKodesh, or the set-apart spirit. Okay, but at any rate, it says, then Nathan said unto David, do what was in your heart. And in verse 3 it said, and it came to pass that same night, after he spoke to David, that the word of Elohim came to Nathan, saying, doesn't say came into him, didn't fall on him, but he came to him, okay? And said, this is what he told, this is what the Ruach HaKodesh, the set-apart spirit, said unto David. Go and tell David, it said unto Nathan, go and tell David, my servant, thus saith Yahuwah. Notice how that language is there. It didn't say that Yahuwah came to them. It said the word of Yahuwah came to him. And he said, thus saith Yahuwah. Okay, just like I would say if I came to you and told you something that somebody told me. Okay? It's important to understand how this is working. Okay? Thou shalt not build me a house to dwell in. He's telling David, told Nathan, and the word of Elohim, the set-apart spirit, told Nathan to tell David not to have him build a temple. Okay? Not to build me a house to dwell in. Even though that was in his heart, and Yahuwah knew that, okay, in David's heart. For I have not dwelt in a house since the day that I brought up Israel unto this day, but have gone from tent to tent, and from one tabernacle to another. Now, the Holy Spirit, or the set-apart spirit, is the one that did everything that Yahuwah commanded. He's the word of Elohim. He's the hornet of Elohim. He's the malach, or angel of Elohim, okay, or of Yahuwah. But that's who he is, okay? And he's the one that's doing everything that's being done, and he's not dwelt in a house. He told him, thus saith Yahuwah, okay? You, David, shall not build me, Yahuwah, a house to dwell in. Then he says, verse 5, this is basically the Ruach speaking here. He says, for I, the Ruach, have not dwelt in a house since the day that I brought up Israel unto this day, but have gone or moved from tent to tent, because no one saw Yahuwah. Yahuwah didn't come down and live in the tabernacle of the congregation. The Ruach did. Okay, he's the glory of Yahuwah. He's the spirit, or Ruach, of Yahuwah. And from one tabernacle to another. Okay, that's what was going on. He was carrying a message for Yahuwah, and he was doing the work that the Ruach was doing, the work that Yahuwah sent him to do. Okay, that's what you got to get focused on. This is all in red. If you have one of these sword Bibles, King James Version, okay, tells you when thus saith Elohim. Okay, it doesn't always be thus saith Yahuwah, but it's thus saith Elohim. Okay, whether it be in the name of being called the malach of Yahuwah, whether he calls it the spirit of Yahuwah, whatever, it's in red. Okay, it's always that individual, that part of the Godhead, as most would call it. Verse 6. Whosoever I have walked with all Israel spoke I a word to any of the judges of Israel. Did he speak a word to any of the judges of Israel, whom I commanded to feed my people, saying, why have you not built me a house of cedar? He's saying, did I ever ask for you to build me a house, a place to dwell in? Verse 7. Now therefore thus shall you say unto my servant David, okay, or King David, thus saith Yahuwah of the host, or of the multitudes. It's Sabaoth. Okay, that's the word in Hebrew is Sabaoth. Okay, which means of the multitudes. Okay. Now therefore thus shall you say unto my servant David, thus saith Yahuwah of the multitudes, I took you from the sheepcote, or from the pasture, because he was a shepherd, David was. Okay? Even from following the sheep, that you should be ruler over my people Israel. Okay? That's what he told Nathan. The word of Yahuwah told Nathan to tell David. Verse 8, and I have been with you wherever you have walked, and have cut off all your enemies from before you. Okay? And have made you a name like the name of the great men that are in the earth, famous. Verse 9, also I will ordain or appoint a place for my people Israel, and will establish them, and they shall dwell in their place, and shall be moved no more. Neither shall the bin of the wicked, or the bin of wickedness, oppress them any more, or the sons of wickedness oppress them any more as at the beginning. Okay? Verse 10. And since the time that I commanded judges to be over my people Israel, you know that, we went through the book of the Judges before we went through the book of Kings, okay? Moreover, I will subdue all thine enemies. Furthermore, I tell you that Yahuwah will build you a house. Now, Yahuwah wouldn't have said that, would he? Yahuwah wouldn't have said, I'll build you a house. And since Yahushua wasn't born yet, okay, it wasn't him saying it. It was the word of Elohim, the set-apart spirit, the Ruach HaKodesh. And he said, furthermore, I tell you that Yahuwah will build you a house, and it shall come to pass when your days be expired or finished, that you must go to be with your fathers or die, that I will raise up your descendant, your seed, singular. He's talking about our Mashiach, our Messiah, okay? Notice he says, I. It makes no sense for this to be Messiah or Mashiach. Let's get that in our understanding. And here's what he says, that I will raise up your descendant, singular, after you, which shall be of your bins or sons, your bin, and I will establish his kingdom, talking about our Mashiach. And it just said right there, furthermore, I tell you that Yahuwah will build you. This is not Yahuwah, and this is not the Mashiach, the Messiah. This is the word of Elohim, the Ruach HaKodesh, the set-apart spirit. Okay? Let's get that. Verse 12. He shall build me a house, and I will establish this throne forever. Now Solomon, his son, also built him a tabernacle, but that's not the house he's referring to. Okay, he's talking about the body of the Mashiach. It's a multiple fulfillment. Solomon's going to build a temple. The Ruach's going to come down and be in that temple, but he's not going to remain in there. He's going to go back up, and he's going to come down. He's going to be all over the place, but he's going to have a house that he can meet with the people in. But what's going to happen when our Messiah came, which already has happened, is that the Ruach's going to come down and remain on Mashiach, and then he would dwell among men. That's why he was Yahuwah, the Elohim incarnate. Okay? That's what he was. You know, he had the Ruach living in him. And not only did he have it living in him, he also, after he ascended and became glorified, came back and breathed on his disciples and let them have that spirit remain on them. And then on the day of Shavuot or Pentecost, he empowered them with that Ruach HaKodesh. Okay? Let's get the understanding. It's much deeper than what we've been going. We're just reading the English scriptures. Then he says, I will be his father, Yahuwah. Okay, actually, the Ruach's talking here, because you could tell that in context because of what was said in verse 10. Okay? I, the Ruach, the word, will be his father, and he shall be my son, or my ben. And I will not take my mercy away from him. Now he does that as a type with Solomon. Even though Solomon sinned greatly by building back the high places and all those things for his wives and things, he still didn't take away his kingdom. He didn't take away his mercy from Solomon. But with our Mashiach, not at all, because he was without sin. Okay, it's a multiple fulfillment away from him, as I took it from him that was before you, Shaul. Okay, King Shaul was before David. Okay, and that's who this message is to, David or David. Okay, because he took away Shaul's kingdom for what? Disobedience, not doing what Yahuwah told him to do. Okay, doing what he thought was right in his own heart. Okay, so Yahuwah wrenched the kingdom out of his hands and put it in David's hands. Okay, but he didn't do that with Solomon because of David, for David's sake. Okay, King David's sake. But with our Messiah, we know that's even deeper. Okay, but I will settle him in my house and in my kingdom forever, and his throne shall be established forevermore. Now, let me ask you, was King Solomon's temple forever reign forevermore? No, he died and was buried with his fathers, the same as David and Shaul and every other person before him. But our Mashiach's kingdom will be established forever. Even though he turns it back to the Father in the new heaven and new earth, he still will reign forever and ever. His kingdom has no end. That is the only fulfillment, the way this could make sense. And if the Ruach is talking here about establishing our Mashiach, Yahushua's kingdom here on earth, Yahushua wasn't back here talking at the time. Common sense, and if you have the spirit of Yahuwah, the Ruach HaKodesh in you, that should ring forth in your ears. What we're reading here. This cannot be interpreted any other way than the Ruach HaKodesh being the word of Elohim and the one that was coming to the people. Okay? Verse 15. According to all these words, it's black and black if you have a Sword Bible. So, this again is the person that wrote down the book of the Chronicles, speaking. According to all these words and according to all this vision, that's when the word of Elohim came to Nathan and spoke all those words. Okay? That was a vision. To all this vision, so did Nathan speak unto David. King David, he delivered the message Yahuwah sent him to deliver. Okay, verse 16. And David the king came and sat before Yahuwah and said, Who am I, O Yahuwah Elohim? And what is mine house that you has brought me here to, brought me this far? And when he's talking about his house, he's not talking about a building, he's talking about his family. Who am I that you would have brought me this far and not killed me like you did Shaul? Okay? Or had him died. Okay? Verse 17. And yet this was a small thing in your eyes, O Eloah, for thou hast also spoken of your servant's house, descendants, for a great while to come. Now he's talking, when he says house again, he's talking about his descendants for a great while to come, all the way to the Messiah, not next generation, not just Solomon, okay, for a great while to come, and has regarded me according to the standing of a man of high degree. David, he's been lifted up. Who lifted him up? Yahuwah. See, and that's what he's praising Yahuwah for, but he's speaking, he knows he's not speaking directly to Yahuwah. Okay, verse 18. He's speaking directly, but he's not there. Verse 18. What can David speak more to you for the honor of your servant? For you know your servant. Yahuwah knows David. He knows all of us. He knows what's going on in our hearts. O Yahuwah, for your servant's sake, and according to your own heart, has you done all this greatness in making known all these great things. Through his Ruach, his set-apart spirit, he made those things all known. First to Nathan, the prophet, and then to David, his servant. Verse 20. O Yahuwah, there is none like you. Neither is there any Elohim, okay, beside you, according to all that we have heard with our ears. And that's not talking about not the spirit of Yahuwah doesn't exist.
That's talking about there's no other Most High but Him. Okay? Why do you think the Scripture even talks of the Most High if there wasn't something of a lesser degree next to Him? Okay? He wouldn't call Himself the Most High. Okay? He's the Most High. That's Yahuwah. And there's none other like Him. That's what that's saying. First it said, "O Yahuwah, there is none like you. Neither is there any other Eloah like you beside you." There's not. Okay? According to all that we have heard with our ears. Verse 21, "And what one nation in the earth is like your people Israel, whom Elohim went to redeem to be His own people, to make you a name of greatness and terribleness by driving out nations from before your people, whom you has redeemed out of Egypt." Verse 22, "For your people Israel did you make your own people forever, and you, Yahuwah, became their Eloah." Okay, verse 24, "Therefore now, Yahuwah, let the thing that thou hast spoken concerning your servant, concerning his family, his descendants, be established forever," as Yahuwah said in verse 14. Okay, let it be established forever, and that's through his Mashiach. Okay, the Messiah that comes as son of David. Okay, verse 24, "Let it even be established that your name may be magnified forever, saying, Yahuwah of the multitudes," of Sabaoth, again in Hebrew, "is the Eloah, okay, of Israel, even the Eloah to Elohim. Even a Elohim to Israel, and let the house or family of David your servant be established before you. For you, O my Eloah, has told your servant that you will build him a house. Therefore your servant hath found in his heart to pray before you." Now, he's not talking about a physical house. Let's get this in our understanding. He's talking about descendants. See, just like the Messiah, he's got his house or his descendants, okay, which is the body of the Mashiach. Okay, and this is an extension of David's body, okay, all the way through Messiah and then on, okay. Verse 26, "And now, Yahuwah, you are Eloah, and has promised this goodness unto your servant. Now, therefore, let it please you to bless the house of your servant, that it may be before you forever, for you blessed, O Yahuwah, and it shall be blessed forever." Or Rach in Hebrew. Blessed is for Rach in Hebrew. Okay, chapter 18. "Now after this it came to pass that David smote the Philistines and subdued them, and took Gath and her towns out of the hand of the Philistines. And he smote or struck Moab, and the Moabites became David's servants and brought gifts, establishing what he promised, making him famous, making him a great man. Okay? And David struck Hadazer, and I did that wrong, I'm sure, king of Zobah, unto Hamath, as he went to establish his kingdom, his dominion by the river Euphrates, or his kingdom, David's kingdom on earth, okay, physical. Verse 4, "And David took him 1,000 chariots and 7,000 horsemen and 20,000 footmen. David also hamstrung all the chariot horses, but reserved of them 100 chariots." He saved, destroyed the rest. Verse 5, "And when the Syrians of Damascus came to help Hadazer, king of Zobah, David slew of the Syrians, not the Assyrians, but the Syrians, 22,000 men. Verse 6, then David put garrisons in Syria, Damascus, and the Syrians became David's servants, fulfilling the promise of Yahuwah through the Ruach, and brought gifts. Thus Yahuwah preserved David wherever he went. He made him to reign over the other people, as he promised. And David took the shields of gold that were on the servants of Hadazer and brought them to Jerusalem, likewise from Tibhath and from Chunsides of Hadazer. Brought David very much brass, wherewith Solomon made the brazen sea, and the pillars and the vessels of brass. Talking in the future a little bit there, from the time we were just talking about. Now when Toah, or Tohu, king of Hamath, heard how David had smitten all the host of Hadazer, king of Zobah, he sent Hadoram, his ben, or son, to King David, or David, to inquire of his welfare and to congratulate him, because he had fought against Hadazer and smitten or defeated him. And this was added now all the way to Tohu of Hadazer, and the war with Tohu, and with him all manner of vessels of gold and silver and brass. See how he's blessing David and his reign. Then also King David dedicated unto Yahuwah with the silver and the gold that he brought from all these nations, from Edom and from Moab, and from the Ben, or sons of Ammon, and from the Philistines, and from Amalek. And Amalek was a group of people. That's where the Amalekites come from. But Amalek was also their god, or their Elohim. Moreover, Abishai, the Ben of Zeriah, slew the Edomites in the valley of Salt, 18,000. He killed 18,000 Edomites in the valley of Salt. Verse 13, and he put garrisons in Edom, and all the Edomites became David's servants. Thus Yahuwah preserved David wherever he went, just as he promised. So David reigned over all Israel and administered judgment and justice among all his people. 15, and Joab, the Ben of Zeriah, was over the host, and Jehoshaphat, the son of Ahilud, recorded. 16, and Zodok, the Ben, which we've talked a lot about Zodok, he's part of Levi, the priesthood, and sons of Aaron, direct descendant of Aaron, and the Ben of Ahitub, and Abimelech, the Ben of Abiathar, were the priests, and Shavsha was scribe. He's the one that wrote everything down. The recorder. 17, and Benaniah, the Ben of Jehoiada, was over the Cherethites and the Pelethites, and the Ben of David were chief about the king, or around the king. The sons of David were right under him, and that's the way it always is. Verse 19, chapter 19. Now it came to pass after this that Nahash, the king of the Ben of Ammon, died, and his Ben reigned in his stead. And David said, I will show kindness unto Hanan, the Ben of Nahash, because his father showed kindness to me. And David sent Malachim, in Hebrew, messengers, same thing that could be translated angels, So he sent Malachim to comfort him concerning his father. So the servants of David came into the land of the Ben of Ammon to Hanan to comfort him. But the princes of the sons, or Ben of Ammon, said unto Hanan, think you that David doth honor your father, that he hath sent comforters unto you? They're sent dissent into his heart to try to tell him, this guy's not here to do anything good for you. He's going to trick you. Are not his servants come unto you to search or to spy? Okay. Could have been translated spy as well as it easily is to search, and to overthrow and to spy out the land. Okay. Therefore, Hanun took David's servants and shaved them, and cut off their garments in the midst, close by their buttocks, and sent them away. Not a good thing at all. Then there went some, and told David how the men were treated, and he sent to meet them, for the men were greatly ashamed. And the king said, wait at Jericho until your beards be grown, and then return. Now the word that's translated beard here should have been translated hair. And I've seen people teach this, that this is talking about that's why you're commanded to wear a beard. This is not talking about just their beard, is it? Look up further and see what it talked about, shaving the hair off around their buttocks. Okay? It's not just that they shaved all their hair off their head, off their faces, wherever they had hair, they shaved it off. And that's what this is talking about here. He said, wait, because they were ashamed. He said, wait there until your hair grows back, not your beard. Verse 6. Look it up. Look up the word beards in Hebrew. You can do that. I'm not going to do it for you, but look it up. Verse 6. And when the men or sons of Ammon saw that they had made themselves a stench of Ammon, sent 1,000 talents of silver to hire them chariots and horsemen out of Mesopotamia and out of Syriamasarach. I know I didn't get that right. And out of Zobah. So they hurried 32,000 chariots. They hired. Thank you. They hired 32,000 chariots, and the king of Maachah and his people, who came and camped before Medeba, and the men of Ammon gathered themselves together from their cities and came to battle. They prepared for battle. Verse 8, and when David heard of it, he sent Joab and all the host of the mighty men, and the men or sons of Ammon came out and put the battle in array before the gate of the city, and the kings that were come were by themselves in the field. Verse 10, now when Joab saw that the battle was set against him, in other words, they were all lined up, ready to fight, before and behind, he chose out of all the choice of Israel and put them in array or battle array against the Syrians. And the rest of the people he delivered into the hand of Abishai, his brother, and they set themselves in array against the men of Ammon. Both of those did. They set their troops in ready for battle. Verse 12. And he said, if the Syrians be too strong for me, then you shall help me. But if the men of Ammon be too strong for you, then I will help you. Be of good courage, and let us behave ourselves courageously for our people and for the cities of our Elohim. And let Yahuwah do that which is good in his sight. In other words, no matter what happens, let Yahuwah's will be done. We're going to go do the best we can for our people. And we're asking that Yahuwah bless us. But if he don't, he's still Yahuwah. He doesn't. Verse 14, so Joab and the people that were with him drew near before the Syrians into the battle, and they fled before him. In other words, the Syrians fled before him. Because as usual, the Ruach is fighting before David's men. Okay? So Joab and the people that were with him drew near before the Syrians to the battle, and they fled before him. And when the men of Ammon saw that the Syrians were fled, they likewise fled before Abishai, his brother. So again, the Ruach, or the hornet, was before the men of Israel, and entered into the city. Then Joab came to Jerusalem. And when the Syrians saw that they were being defeated before Israel, they sent Malachim, messengers, and drew forth the Syrians that were beyond the river. And Sophach, the captain of the host of Hadazar, went before them. And it was told David, and he gathered all Israel and passed over Jordan, and came upon them and set the battle in array against them. So when David had put the battle in array, or formed his battle lines, that's what put the battle in array means, against the Syrians, they fought with him. But the Syrians fled before Israel, and David slew of the Assyrians 7,000 men, which fought in the chariots, and 40,000 footmen, and killed Sophach, the captain of the host. And when the servants of Hadazar saw that they were being defeated before Israel, they made peace with David and became his servants. Neither would the Syrians help the men of Ammon anymore. Chapter 20. And it came to pass that after the year was finished, at the time that the kings go out to battle, Joab led forth the power of the army and destroyed the country of the Ben, or sons of Ammon, and came and besieged Rabbah. But David stayed at Jerusalem, and Joab struck Rabbah and destroyed it. And David took the crown of their kingdom from off his head, and found it to weigh a talent off of the king of that nation's head, and found it to weigh a talent of gold. And there were precious stones in it, and it was set upon David's head. And he brought also a great amount of plunder or spoil out of the city. Verse 3, and he brought out the people that were in it, and cut them with saws, and with harrows of iron, and with axes. Even so dealt David with all the cities of the sons of Ammon, or the Ben of Ammon. And David and all the people returned to Jerusalem. And it came to pass after this, that there arose a war at Gezer with the Philistines, at which time Sabachai, I'm probably pronouncing that incorrectly, and Hushathite slew Sippai, that was of the Ben of the giants, and they were subdued, the sons of the giants. You know that there was several tribes of giants. Philistines had some. And there was war again with the Philistines, and Elihana, the Ben of Yar, slew Lamai, the brother of Goliath, the Gittite, whose spear staff was like a weaver's beam. So it sounds like these are the giants that he's speaking of. And yet again, there was war at Gath, where was a man of great stature, whose fingers and toes were 4 and 26 on each hand. Woo! That's a lot of fingers on each hand. And toes were 4 and 20 on each. Fingers and, let's see, how did that read? Was a man of great stature, whose fingers and toes were 4 and 26 on each hand, and 6 on each foot. And he also was the Ben of a giant. But when he taunted Israel, Jonathan, the Ben of Shimeah, David's brother, slew him. These were born unto the giant in Gath, and they fell by the hand of David and by the hand of his servants. 21. And Satan rose up against Israel and provoked David to number Israel, to count Israel, provoked him. Now, see, that's telling you that wasn't something that Yahuwah provoked him to do. It was Satan. Okay? And David said to Joab and to the rulers of the people, Go, number Israel from Beersheba even unto Dan, and bring the number of them to me, that I may know it. And Joab answered, Yahuwah make his people 100 times so many more as they be. But my master, the king, are they not all my master's servants? Why then doth my master require this thing, to count Israel? Why will he be a cause of guilt to Israel? He knew that Yahuwah didn't call for this. Verse 4, Nevertheless, the king's word prevailed against Joab. Wherefore Joab departed and went throughout all Israel and came to Jerusalem. And Joab gave the sum of the number of the people unto David, and all they of Israel were 1,000 and 100,000 men that drew the sword, or 470,000. Okay? Men that drew the sword, and Yehuda was 410,000. I'm sorry, that was the total of that number of Yehuda. I misspoke earlier. Verse 6, But Levi and Benjamin counted he not among them of the king's word, for it was abominable to Joab. So he didn't count Levi, and he didn't count Benjamin. Okay? And those two ended up staying later in the southern part in Jerusalem, along with, only part of Levi. So verse 7, and Elohim was displeased with this thing, therefore he struck Israel. Wow. And David said unto Elohim, I have sinned greatly because I have done this thing. But now I beg you, do away the iniquity of your servant, or forgive the iniquity or the sin of your servant, for I have done very foolishly. And Yahuwah spake unto Gad, David's seer, or prophet, saying, Go and tell David, saying, Thus saith Yahuwah, I offer you 3 things, choose thee one of them, that I may do it unto you. So Gad came to David and said unto him, Thus saith Yahuwah, choose you either 3 years famine, or 3 months to be destroyed before your foes, while that the sword of thine enemies overtake you, or else 3 days the sword of Yahuwah, even the pestilence in the land, and the angel of Yahuwah destroying throughout all the coast or the territory of Israel. Now therefore advise yourself what word I shall bring again to him that sent me. Okay? And David said unto Gad, I'm in deep distress. Let me fall now into the hand of Yahuwah, for very great are his mercies. But let me not fall into the hand of man. 14. So Yahuwah sent pestilence upon Israel. Okay? And there fell of Israel 70,000 men because of David's disobedience. Okay, his sin. Verse 15, and Elohim sent a messenger, or a malach, unto Jerusalem to destroy it. And actually it's the malach unto Jerusalem to destroy it, not an. And as he was destroying, Yahuwah beheld, and he repented, or he was regretted him of the evil, and said to the messenger, or to the angel, or to the malach that destroyed, it is enough, stay now your hand. And the angel of Yahuwah, which is the Ruach HaKodesh, through the slide of the scribe's pen, it's trying to be hidden here, stood by the threshing floor of Ornan of the Jebusite. And David lifted up his eyes and saw the angel, or the malach of Yahuwah, standing between the earth and heaven. This is always the one standing between the earth and heaven, having a drawn sword in his hand stretched out over Jerusalem. That's the word, the Ruach HaKodesh. Then David and the elders of Israel, who were clothed in sackcloth, fell upon their faces. And David said unto Elohim, Is it not that I commanded the people to be numbered? Even I it is that have sinned and done evil indeed. But as for these sheep, what have they done? Talking about his people, Israel, or his sheep. What have they done? Let thine hand, I beg you, O Yahuwah, my Eloah, be on me and on my family's house, or my family's family, but not on your people, that they should be plagued. So David's being an intercessor for Israel at this point. Then the angel, or the Malach of Yahuwah, commanded Gad. Now, think about this. This is the Ruach HaKodesh. That's who's speaking to Gad. That's who spoke to him in the first place. Okay? To say to David that David should go up and set up an altar unto Yahuwah in the threshing floor of Ornan the Jebusite. And David went up at the saying of Gad, which he spake in the name of Yahuwah. Verse 20, and Ornan turned back and saw the Malach, and his 4 sons with him hid themselves. Ornan's 4 sons, okay, hid themselves. Now Ornan was threshing wheat, and as David came to Ornan, Ornan looked and saw David, and went out of the threshing floor, and bowed himself to David with his face to the ground. Then David said to Ornan, Give me to the place of this threshing floor, that I may build an altar thereon unto Yahuwah. You shall give it me for the full price, that the epidemic or plague may be stayed from the people. Verse 23, and Ornan said unto David, Take it to you, and let my master the king do that which is good in his eyes. Lo, I give you the oxen as for burnt offerings, and the threshing instruments for wood, and the wheat for food of offering. I will give it all. And the king David said to Ornan, No, but I will surely buy it for the full price, for I will not take that which is thine, which that is yours, for Yahuwah, nor offer burnt offerings without cost. Because that would have been a sin for David to do that, for him to not give him something that was just given to him. So David gave to Ornan for the place 600 shekels of gold by weight. And David built there an altar unto Yahuwah, and offered burnt offerings and peace offerings, and called upon Yahuwah, and he answered him from the heaven by fire upon the altar of the burnt offering. He didn't answer him with a voice, he answered him with fire. Okay, that's the only way Yahuwah is going to answer him. Okay, and Yahuwah commanded the Malach, which is the angel of Yahuwah, and he put up his sword again unto the sheath thereof. At that time, when David saw Yahuwah had answered him in the threshing floor of Ornan, when he saw this, the Malach of Yahuwah put up his sword, he knew that he was answered. And the Jebusite, then he worshipped there. They got sacrificed in the King James. He probably did that, but he also worshipped here. For the tabernacle of Yahuwah, which Moshe made in the wilderness, and the altar of the burnt offering were at the season in the high place at Gibeon. But David could not go before it to inquire of Elohim, for he was afraid, because the sword of the Malach, the messenger of Yahuwah, which is the Ruach HaKodesh. Okay? Chapter 22. Then David said, This is the house of Yahuwah Elohim, and this is the altar of the burnt offering of Israel. And David commanded to gather together the strangers that were in the land of Israel, and he set masons to prepare dressed stones to build the house of Elohim, which he'd already been told not to do. Okay? And David prepared iron in abundance for the nails of the doors of the gates, and for the joinings, and brass in abundance without weight, or beyond weight measure. Verse 4, Also cedar trees in abundance for the Zidonians. And they of Tyre brought much cedar wood to David. And David said, Solomon, my son, is younger and tender, and the house that is to be builded for Yahuwah must be exceedingly magnificent, of fame and of glory throughout all countries. I will therefore now make preparation. So that's what David's doing here. He's making preparation for Solomon to build the house for it. So David prepared abundantly before his death. Then he called for Solomon, his ben, or son, and charged him to build a house for Yahuwah Elohim of Israel. And David said to Solomon, my ben, as for me, it was in my mind to build a house unto the name of Yahuwah my Elohim. But the word of Yahuwah, which is the Ruach HaKodesh, the Malach of Yahuwah, okay? But the word of Yahuwah came to me, saying, Thus hast shed blood abundantly, and has made great wars. You shall not build a house unto my name, because you have shed much blood upon the earth in my sight. Verse 9, Behold, a ben shall be born to you, who shall be a man of peace, not rest. They got rest in your King James. It's a man of peace. And that time that Solomon reigned was a type of Sabbath, just like the millennial reign is a type of peace that is to come. Okay, a rest, a Sabbath. That's why it's translated rest in your King James. And I will give him rest or peace, okay, from all his enemies round about, for his name shall be Solomon, okay, which is talking about peace again. That's what his name means. And I will give peace and quietness into Israel in his days. He shall build a house for my name, and he shall be my ben, and I will be his father, and I will establish the throne of his kingdom over Israel forever. Okay, and he's going to do that through the Mashiach, our Messiah, the Mashiach. Verse 11. That was all in red, and that was all the word of Yahuwah, which is the Ruach HaKodesh, the set-apart spirit. Also the angel of Yahuwah when necessary, okay, to be destroyed. But he was always delivering message. That's what he was there doing. 11. Now my son, my ben, Yahuwah be with you. This is David speaking to Solomon. And prosper you, and build the house of Yahuwah your Elohim, as he has said of you. Verse 12, Only Yahuwah give you wisdom and understanding, and give you charge concerning Israel, that you may keep the Torah of Yahuwah your Elohim. Okay? Verse 13, Then shall you prosper, if you take heed to fulfill the statutes and the judgments which Yahuwah charged or commanded. Moshe, with concerning Israel, be strong and of good courage, dread not nor be dismayed. Verse 14, Now behold, in my trouble, I have prepared for the house of Yahuwah. In other words, he's put away provisions to build the house of Yahuwah, 100,000 talents of gold, and 1,000 talents of silver, and of brass and iron without weight. In other words, too much to even weigh. For it is in abundance. Timber also, stone have I prepared, and you may add thereunto. Add thereto. Verse 15. Moreover, there were workmen with you in abundance, carvers and workers of stone and timber, and all manner of skillful men for every manner of work. Of the gold, the silver, and the brass, and the iron there is no number. Arise therefore and be doing, and Yahuwah be with you. And David also commanded all the princes of Israel to help Solomon his ben, saying, Is not Yahuwah your Elohim with you? And hath he not given you peace on every side? For he hath given the inhabitants of the land unto my hand. So it would be shalom. Okay, that word would be shalom. That's peace. Every side, for he hath given the inhabitants of the land into your hand, and to the land is conquered before Yahuwah and before his people. Now set your heart and your soul, which is your body, to seek Yahuwah your Elohim. Arise, therefore, and build you the sanctuary of Yahuwah Elohim. It's in his name, but the Ruach was the one that would come down, the angel of Yahuwah, to bring the ark of the covenant of Yahuwah and the set-apart vessels of Elohim into the house that is to be built to the name of Yahuwah. We'll go ahead and stop it there. It's not quite an hour, but we're going to go quite a bit over if we do, and that's really a pretty good stopping place. May Yahuwah bless you until we, or barat you until we meet again. And if you get the opportunity, or just go take the opportunity to go to YouTube and hit the subscribe button and hit the little bell so you can be notified. I'll get the right word there. Thank you. You can be notified of the next video. And again, if you have any comments or concerns, go down to the comments below and type them in. Yahuwah Barat till we meet again.